Good evening, West Texas. My name is Shawn Humphrey, and I'm always Shawn Humphrey, but today I'm filling in for Damian Bartonic as your sports anchor. And when you're watching Fox West Texas, the weekend starts early. Absolutely, Bert, I have been enjoying myself, and it's an absolute honor to hear Ballin' Bert St. Pierre call me a fixture out here at the fairgrounds. And
no, I am not lasting very long in the octagon.
Hey, if you run around long enough, I think that might secure a paycheck. Might not be fight of the night, but business is business, as I like to say. I had to catch some of bareback riding before I had to race back here to make sure you still had a sports anchor and I still had a job. And now the unofficial results say Police Chief-elect Travis Griffith, and it's been a long process. We've had an extra month tacked on with this runoff election, so I'm sure the last thing you want asked is what's next, but I'm gonna ask it anyways. What's next?
Yeah, first and foremost, all glory to God.
Maybe a greenhouse isn't the best place to beat the heat, but even for potted plants, a little rain goes a long way. Look out at this big expanse. He has 250 acres of cotton plants, and he can only effectively irrigate about 15. And if you look over yonder, that's a word we use here in West Texas, is yonder, that big patch of dirt over there, cotton's supposed to be growing. I know these guys, they love to strike, they love to throw punches, and it's going to be a lot of fun for me. You should come with me, Bert. You should watch.
Well, maybe I will. I haven't watched UFC in a long time.
And good evening, West Texas. I'm Shawn Humphrey. Damian Bartonic spoke with Liz Carmouche this week. She co-headlined the first women's fight in UFC history with Ronda Rousey in 2013, and she told Damian she's still chasing titles in PFL.
That's the goal, is end of the year, have my hand raised, have another belt, and then push for them to get the 135 division added in PFL.
Hope you caught your breath because we're going. UFC 304 is this Saturday. The main event, Leon Rocky Edwards versus Belal Muhammad. And Muhammad hasn't fought in over a year, but Leon Edwards looks to cement himself as possibly the greatest UFC welterweight of all time. And an interesting storyline in the interim heavyweight championship fight, Curtis Blades gave Tom Aspinall his only loss in the UFC after the latter was injured in the first round. But is the winner really the baddest man on the planet? John Jones, two-division champion, maybe you've heard of him, maybe you haven't, possibly the best athlete in combat sports history. He's out with an injury for an extended period of time, but he'll likely get to face the winner of this fight. And the NFL has had a hectic day. Two top quarterbacks in the league are going to find themselves with more dough than a pizza shop with extra flour. See if you caught that. Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa signed a contract today worth $212 million over 4 years. That contract made him the fourth highest paid quarterback in the league. And keep that in mind, the numbers and the pay me power ranking. He's the highest paid Dolphin ever, and the dominoes didn't take long to fall in the NFL. You ever heard of leapfrog? Jordan Love has. He started training camp holding out for a new contract, and he's now the highest paid quarterback, period, in the NFL. Maybe the period comes after that. 4 years, $220 million. Cowboys fans will recognize him as the man who ended their season. Now, what's this mean for the Cowboys? Dak Prescott is in the final year of his contract. Thursday, Damian Bartonic showed you the numbers you see on your screen. 4 years, roughly $212 million, familiar numbers. We will see if that estimate holds up. His top wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, is holding out for a new deal. And defensive juggernaut Micah Parsons has an extension around the corner. Lots of mouths to feed in Dallas, and the quarterback market just took a big turn. Oh, goodness. Wait up, West Texas. Don't go anywhere. Do not go anywhere, West Texas. I was just checking to make sure that I was tall enough to ride. This is my first San Angelo rodeo, and right now I'm checking out the calm before the storm, which means it doesn't really matter much if I was tall enough to ride because nobody's here.
This decoration at one of the carnival vendor booths doesn't like being called a rodeo clown. The rides here are ready to go, and while the carnival is open, visitors will have a chance to choose between the Twister and the Tornado. While vendors prepped, I found someone who was taking in the sights and sounds just as much as I.
We came over here to look around because it's a rodeo. A lot of cool things.
Salazar told me he was excited to get a chance to try some of the rides at the carnival, and while workers had to climb about 50 feet in the air to put some of them together, Salazar's not afraid of heights.
Always been adventurous. It's kind of fun just to go out and see.
Nearby, there are pigs getting a test run before they race for spectators when the carnival opens. And before the real competition,
I may be wearing a pig nose, but I promise you I'm still professional.
Maybe a professional knucklehead. When I pointed my camera toward the petting zoo, the sheep were quite vocal, but I'll be the one asking the questions around here.
Do you have anything that you would like to say about the San Angelo rodeo? What?
Just outside the carnival, the smell of barbecue has its own gravitational pull, and I'm not immune to it just yet. One cook I met is preparing to compete Saturday.
So I'm not going to say mine's the best, but I may be a little biased towards my stings.
Guerrero says he's confident he'll be able to do well because he's doing something different than what he's done before.
I usually use pre-made seasonings, but here lately I've been trying to dabble and make my own, get a different taste than what people have brought out. Not saying that any of their food is bad, but you know, I just would love to bring my own flair to it.
By Saturday, these pitmasters will be adding savory smells to the sights and sounds, and by now what were once empty rides are filled with screaming carnival goers. And the best part is, the fun is just getting started.
Here in West Texas, communities gathered together to watch the Great American Eclipse. One of those communities was Brady. That's where meteorologist Britt Musall and Shawn Humphrey were today, and they caught up with plenty of excited people. Guys, how was it?
It was an incredible experience. I would love to see the next solar eclipse. It was amazing.
Only a couple decades.
I wish I had some sort of remote to be able to press rewind and go back to those moments of totality. The people we met were great, and we talked to some people at an undisclosed restaurant. We don't want to be advertising here, but we spoke to people who said that that was the most foot traffic they'd seen in Brady in forever. So it was great to see, Bert.
Lunch and an eclipse. Good for you.
Yeah, it was a great day. Great morning, Bert. The only thing that beat seeing the Great American Eclipse with my own two eyes was watching the people we spoke to take it all in. And while getting to meet them through your screens doesn't quite do it justice, I hope everyone watching at home can feel a piece of their joy today.
Space is awesome. We love it.
Amelia Scott and Heidi Clay's excitement now is nothing compared to what they'll feel about an hour from now. They've traveled to Brady, Texas from Durango, Colorado, a 12-hour drive for just under 2 minutes of totality.
We watched The Incredibles together because we could.
For Scott and Clay, lots of hours on the road meant they had to find lots of ways to pass time.
Sleeping, a little bit of homework, some Incredibles. Yep. Yeah. Looking out the window at the vast expanse of the middle of Texas where there's nothing. Middle of nowhere.
They aren't the only ones who made long trips. One group traveled all the way from Utah. Another came to Brady from Canada. It didn't take Andy Bowie that long to arrive. He's from Abilene, but he's brought his family to Brady to experience a moment he missed a chance to capture 7 years ago.
In 2017, we weren't close enough to see totality, and I didn't really realize how big of a deal that totality was and how cool of an experience I'm hoping that it will be. So we're excited about it.
As everyone in the park watches the skies, they've got plenty of ways to get a good look at the eclipse. One man has a device connected to his phone that will allow him to put together a time lapse. And while some people are painstakingly moving their telescopes inch by inch to keep up with the sun, Britt Musall is just relying on his eyes and a pair of eclipse glasses. And as totality approaches, Scott and Clay can't wait.
This is something that I'm extremely passionate about, extremely excited for. And being able to be here for totality, that's something that I am very happy to be here for. We're missing school for this. This is something that's really exciting.
The girls' telescope isn't working, but as the sky darkens and the air around them cools, the sun is finally completely hidden from view. And neither the girls nor their driver, Ethan Scott, are worried about their telescope issues or the 12-hour ride home. They can only look at the sky in awe.
12 hours for this. How are you feeling?
This is incredible.
This is
I know.
This is amazing.
Heidi, look through them. This is the oh my God.
Oh, wow.
Safe travels to everyone Britton and I met in Brady. And Ethan, if you're watching this, I'm going to need those pictures. If you want to watch it all again, visit our website, foxwtx.com. But for now, in studio, Shawn Humphrey, Fox West Texas.
Well done, Shawn. Thank you very much. People were...
At Cristoval Vineyards, the harvest team is at work early. beating the sun to the punch to pull grapes from the vine. And as hot and dry weather impacts West Texans in a variety of ways, you'll be surprised to know that the plants here are thriving.
The grapes love the heat. They do really well out here in this environment.
The vineyard has winemaking down to a science, and the owners here certainly have to keep the climate in mind when they choose which wines to produce.
The varietals that we have picked to plant out here do really well in this terroir, or with our soil.
Lots of trees provide ample shade here, cooling the air on the property. And running water from the South Concho River means mosquitoes aren't a problem. The owners say they have a unique biome, and the butterflies here agree. But even though the vineyard isn't quite struggling with the weather, we can't underestimate the impact a timely rain brings.
A little bit of rain goes a long way because the rain has lower salts, right? It's a little bit fresher water than what we get out of the ground, and the plants absolutely love it. So we dance a jig every time there's a nice rain.
The operation says it is committed to the winemaking process from the soil to the bottle. After workers finish harvesting grapes by hand, staff removes leaves, twigs, and other contaminants. Then the grapes are crushed, with chemicals added to aid the fermenting process. From the room where the wine is aged in barrels, Neff says the attention to detail is essential.
We know what we've done. We know the history of that wine. We know the history of that field. I know every time it's rained. I know every time I fertilized, right? And then when it comes to making the wine, we know what we're doing, and we're kind of committed to the idea of the artisan winery.
And when visitors schedule tours, Neff is mindful to help them stay out of the heat. The tours finish next to the barrels, where a large fan cools the aging wine.
Of course, once you get in here into this room, you're not worried about the heat at all.
As the gates close on my time at Cristóbal Vineyards, we remind you that you can find all of our latest updates on news, weather, and sports on our website, foxwtx.com, and download our mobile app. From Cristóbal Vineyards, Shawn Humphrey, Fox West Texas.